Sony can make the best street photography camera ever right now. Yes, they can make a better street photography camera than Fuji, Nikon, Canon. But how? Let's talk about it. About 2 years ago, when Sony launched the A7C, I was really excited. I wanted Nikon to make something like that. Nikon did put out their version, the Nikon ZFC, a crop sensor camera which was fast in autofocus, looks retro but houses an APS-C sensor. Nikon even went on to launch some small and light primes to go with the ZFC, A7C ZFC. But it was still nothing like the A7C. And yet I did not go for the A7C. There have been at least a dozen times that I thought that I would actually go and buy the A7C off, but then I controlled my instincts and held myself back. What made it easy for me to do that, to hold myself back, are a few things that the A7C lacked. Being a primarily photography camera, the A7C lacked the front dial. Just like the Fuji X-Z4 lacks the rear dial, the Sony A7C lacks the front dial, and that to me is a huge turn off because I showed you three fingers, shutter, front dial and rear dial. I felt as if I wouldn't make full connection to the camera without the front dial, so I decided to wait. In early 2020, I got the beautiful A7 IV, a 33 megapixel camera, beast of a camera, wonderful camera. And the camera has huge dynamic range, really good video features, overall one of the most well-rounded cameras ever produced. I'm talking about the Sony A7 IV. But the colors are slightly off. There is this green cast that is slightly difficult to manage at times. However, what Sony did next was awesome. With the launch of the A7R5, Sony fixed much of the color issues that Sony cameras typically suffer from. From everything that I have seen, the A7R5 is just what Sony files should look like. Now, this new color is the first thing that I want in the Sony A7C Mark II, even if they continue with the old 24 megapixel sensor. I don't mind. Bring the new colors in. I know that they will not use the 24 megapixel sensor. Most likely, I think they're likely to go with the same sensor that we have seen in the Sony A7 IV. There is another thing that Sony needs to steal from the A7R5, and that's the tilt flip screen. Ever since the launch of the A7R5, everyone has been talking about that implementation. If you ask me, the less specialized a camera is, the more versatile it needs to be. Obviously, a camera like an A7C is a perfect everyday hybrid content creator's camera. It's just for that person who's going to have just that one camera and do a lot of things with it before she starts investing in specific cameras for specific jobs. And therefore, the better it strikes a balance between photo and video, the better it will serve its own purpose and its own existence. Last but not the least is the EVF, the electronic viewfinder. Yes, it needs to be compact and light, of course, but I'm not sure if the EVS needs to be that tiny. I would like to see some improvement in the size of the EVF, even if it is a 15% increase in size. Even if it is somewhere between 8 to 10 to 12% increase in size. Just make the EVF slightly larger so that most people can set their eye on the EVF. That little bit of increase in the size of the EVF will go a long way. So to conclude, for me, the Sony A7C Mark II should be a camera that has almost all of the essentials of the A7 IV, with fast focusing, animal eye detect both in photo and video, 33 megapixel sensor, 10-bit color while taking the color and the screen implementation from the Sony A7R5. All of that at the same price of $1,700 or $1,750 US. That I think is the ideal mark for the A7C Mark II. But what do you think? Do you think I'm right? Do you think Sony should go with the existing viewfinder? Because I've heard rumors that Sony is likely to use the existing viewfinder, and I don't want them to use that. I think that's unnecessarily crippling the camera. What do you think? Do you think Sony should actually make it more like a photography camera and use a only a tilt screen, or make a fully like more like a video maker's camera and make it put a flip screen there? Or do you think they should use the screen that they have used in the A7R5? Share your thoughts. I am personally interested and excited about the Sony A7C Mark II. In fact, that is the one reason why I'm not looking at the Canon R6 Mark II or the Canon R8. And well, R8 has a lot of compromises, but okay, the R6 Mark II, maybe even a used R5. I think the Sony A7C is just the right one, along with my Fuji X-T5. Compact, but then the Fuji X-T5 is a crop sensor camera. So if I have a similar experience in a full frame body, which is what the A7C moniker is there for, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Let me know your thoughts, and I'm going to see you very soon with another one. And by the way, if you watched this video till this point, why don't you subscribe? So that's about it. Please subscribe. It's free, and I'm going to see you very soon with another one.